Take a breath, dear soul. The angels are gently connecting to your energy now, because there's something they want you to know. Did someone finally say out loud what they've been secretly hiding about you, in front of their family? In today's divine message, the angels are revealing the truth behind that moment, and why it matters more than you may realize. Dear child, there is a quiet unfolding happening behind the scenes of your life, a divine orchestration that no human eye can fully grasp, but your soul has always sensed it. You may not have heard the words spoken directly, but your heart already knows the truth has begun to rise like the morning sun after a long night. Someone who held back for far too long has finally spoken your name in a space where it once felt unsafe to do so. In front of their family, where silence once protected the comfort of others, the truth has now found its voice. This is not a coincidence, beloved. This is a moment heaven has been preparing for you. For every time you were doubted, every time your intentions were misunderstood or your worth questioned behind closed doors, the universe was quietly gathering the evidence of your goodness, your loyalty, and your unwavering heart. The angels saw it all. They have kept a record not of your flaws, but of your quiet sacrifices, of the moments you stayed silent to keep peace, of the times you let love speak louder than your pain. And now, finally, that truth is beginning to rise. Type Amen if you trust in God. Dear child, you have walked a path that demanded so much strength from you. You have been judged unfairly by people who never took the time to know the depth of your soul. You were spoken about when you weren't in the room, misrepresented when your back was turned, misunderstood when your only intention was to love. And yet, you stayed kind, you stayed soft, you stayed faithful to your spirit. Do you know how powerful that is in the eyes of heaven? The angels watched as you absorbed the sharp words, the strange silences, and the sideways glances, and still chose not to retaliate. They watched you cry where no one could see, and smile when your heart was heavy. And today, they want you to know that the spiritual balance is shifting. What was once hidden in shadows is now being brought into the light. Those who once doubted your place in someone's life are being shown exactly why your presence matters. The scales are being rebalanced not by your effort, but by divine justice that flows from love and truth. This message is a confirmation, dear one, that someone who once hesitated to defend you, someone who stayed quiet to keep their family's approval, has now spoken. The truth they carried in their heart has become too heavy to silence, and so it has been released, perhaps in a moment of tension or an emotional outburst, or maybe in a gentle confession that slipped through in an unguarded moment. But the angels want you to know that it happened for a reason. There was divine timing at work. That family gathering, that discussion that night, it was not random. It was chosen by the divine to mark a turning point. And though you may still be in the dark about how it all played out, your soul feels it. That energetic shift you sensed was real. The resistance has begun to break. Dear child, let your heart rest in this truth. You are not crazy for sensing what you sensed. You are not imagining the energy around you changing. You have not been forgotten. In fact, this moment has been long awaited in the spiritual realm. There is a reason the angels did not let you retaliate when you were wrongly blamed. There is a reason your path was held back when all you wanted was to move forward. The reason is this: the truth needed time to rise from within the very hearts that once rejected it. It needed to be revealed in a way that even your silence would speak louder than your defense. And now that it has begun, the healing can finally begin. Not just for you, but for the relationships that were strained by lies, by pride, and by fear. The angels are asking you to hold yourself with great tenderness now. When justice begins to flow, it can stir up many emotions. You may feel relief, you may feel sadness, you may even feel anger that it took this long. All of those feelings are valid, but the angels ask you not to dwell in resentment. Let yourself feel what you need to feel, but do not let your soul harden. For this revelation is not just about your vindication, it is about your liberation. The chains of misunderstanding, the weight of silence, the pain of being unseen, these are being broken now. You are being released from a story that never truly fit you. You are being led into a new season where your voice will be heard, your heart will be honored, and your truth will be recognized not as a threat, but as a gift. Dear child, the person who spoke your name did so with more than words. They spoke with emotion, with regret, with clarity. They may have once struggled between loyalty to family and the pull of their heart, but now the divide has become too painful to ignore. They are realizing that love cannot grow in silence and truth cannot survive in hiding. This realization is their awakening, and though it may have come late, it has come nonetheless. Do not fear what this may bring. Do not fear the shifting dynamics, the awkward silences, or the changed energy. You are protected. What was said was meant to be said. What was revealed was meant to be seen. This is not the end of peace. It is the beginning of authenticity. And beloved, the angels are also preparing your heart for the next steps. Because now that the truth has been spoken, the path forward must be chosen with clarity and compassion. You may be asked to forgive, to open your heart again, to consider healing where once there was only hurt. And this choice will not be easy. But the angels are walking with you. They are whispering courage into your bones and placing strength in your spirit. They are reminding you that justice does not mean punishment. It means alignment. And alignment brings peace. You do not have to force reconciliation, but you also do not need to guard your heart with walls so high that love cannot enter. Instead, allow discernment to be your guide. Let your intuition tell you who is ready and who is still learning. Not everyone will understand your soul, but those who do, those who finally see the truth, will begin to act differently. Let their actions speak, and let your heart remain steady. You are not alone in this. Heaven is surrounding you. The shift you feel is not imagined, it is spiritual. The storm has passed its peak, and now comes the clearing. And as the dust settles, you will see who is still standing with you. You will see who is willing to rebuild. And most importantly, you will see yourself more clearly than ever before. Not as someone seeking validation, but as someone rooted in truth, wrapped in grace, and worthy of being seen. This is your time to rise, dear one. Rise not in anger, but in wisdom. Rise not in revenge, but in peace. Let this moment teach you how deeply the universe protects those who walk in light even when misunderstood. Let it remind you that your heart was never invisible to the divine. You are seen, you are known, you are guided, and now you are being restored. Dear child, the heavens are drawing close to your heart today, gently placing their hands upon the places that feel unseen, unloved, and quietly overlooked. You have been waiting for something sacred to shift, haven't you? Perhaps not just in the outer world, but in the inner spaces where you feel tired of hoping. tired of believing that someone might finally acknowledge your worth in places where silence has spoken louder than truth. The angels are whispering now with great tenderness that what was hidden is beginning to rise, but they also see that your spirit has grown weary, not because you are weak, but because you've been holding space for love to find its voice. And again, you've been met with hesitation, excuses, and emotional distance. You've given so much of your soul in pure sincerity, only to watch others avoid the depth of what you truly are. The angels want you to know, dear one, that they have not missed a single moment of your longing, your quiet waiting, or your silent tears. They see that you are not simply asking, "Did they say something about me?" You are truly asking, "Do I still matter to them at all?" Type, "I believe," if you believe in God's plan. There is someone in your life, beloved child, who has felt the pull to speak the truth about you for a long time, but they have sat with their arms crossed, their heart conflicted, and their soul unsure of how to say what needs to be said. They have felt the pressure from others, especially from family, to conform, to stay silent, to not create waves. And yet your energy continues to echo in their spirit like a prayer they cannot forget. They may have sat in rooms where your name hovered like a ghost, never spoken, never denied, but always present. And the angels are gently revealing that in a recent moment, that silence was broken. Something was said, something small perhaps, but it carried the weight of what had been buried for so long. Maybe it wasn't an emotional declaration or a loud confession, but a shift happened. A truth was spoken. A feeling was acknowledged. Your presence in their heart was revealed. And while it may not have been received perfectly, it was necessary, divinely timed, and undeniable. Dear child, you must understand something sacred now. Often, when people are surrounded by the noise of expectations, tradition, and fear of judgment, they go numb to the blessings that are right in front of them. That numbness is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of their internal battle. You were not ignored because you were unlovable. You were avoided because loving you would require them to choose courage. And courage, for some, arrives slowly. The angels see that your heart has sat waiting by the door, hoping it would open, hoping someone would fight for you. And while the door may have creaked open now, you are not sure whether to rejoice or protect yourself. That hesitation, sweet soul, is not weakness, it is wisdom, and the angels honor it. They are asking you to look within and ask yourself, have you been so focused on what has not been said, on the cup not offered, that you have forgotten what is still possible? Have you closed yourself off to healing because the past has taught you to expect disappointment? The angels say, this is your moment to awaken not to someone else's timeline or emotional maturity, but to your own power, your own light, and your own readiness to be loved in full. You do not need to chase anyone to be seen. You do not need to wait endlessly for someone to realize your worth. If they finally spoke your name in front of their family, it was not just about you. It was a moment of truth between them and the divine. It was their spirit breaking open beneath the pressure of silence, and it matters. But so do you. So does your peace. So does your joy. This is not a message about whether they deserve you. This is a message about whether you are still holding space in your heart for the divine love that was always meant to find you. The angels are not asking you to forget the pain. They are not asking you to pretend that nothing happened, but they are gently guiding you to see beyond the wound. This situation is more than just a relationship issue. It is a soul lesson in how to receive, how to trust your worth, and how to believe that even when others fail to love you loudly, heaven never stops loving you fully. The person who finally spoke about you may still be confused. They may still have family members who do not accept what they feel. But that is not your burden to carry. You are not here to convince anyone. You are here to remain rooted in your truth. You are here to allow your energy to speak when words fall short. You are here to receive what aligns with your sacred heart, not what keeps you stuck in a cycle of waiting for change that never comes. And yet, beloved child, there is beauty blooming even here. Because that cup you thought was empty, it was not. It was being filled slowly, quietly, without your eyes watching. And now there is a hand, unseen by the world, but guided by heaven, offering it to you once more. Will you take it? That is the question only your soul can answer. But the angels say this: do not take it out of loneliness. Do not take it out of fear that no other cup will come. Take it only if your heart feels it is being offered with truth, with consistency, with honor. Take it only if the words that were spoken about you are now being followed with action that proves love, not just attachment. You are worth more than fleeting attention. You are worth steady love. And if this person is now learning that truth, let their journey be theirs, but let your peace be yours. This season is sacred, dear child. You are no longer in a place of emotional starvation. You are being spiritually fed, emotionally restored, and gently led into a future that no longer demands your suffering to prove your worth. You do not need to stay small to be loved. You do not need to stay silent to keep peace. You are allowed to ask for more. And if the people who once overlooked you are now waking up to your light, let them come. But let them come with reverence, with growth, and with humility. Let them meet you where you truly are now, not where they left you, but where you have risen. The angels are proud of you, not because you waited, but because you grew while you waited. Not because you stayed, but because you stayed soft. And now the truth is unfolding not just in words, but in the energy that surrounds you. Pay attention to the shifts. Pay attention to the signs. You are being guided. You are not here to beg for love. You are here to receive it with the open hands of someone who knows their value. And this moment, this truth, this offering, it is only the beginning. Dear child, your heart has endured storms that few could ever understand, battles that were fought not always with weapons, but with silence, distance, and unspoken words that cut deeper than any blade. The angels gather around you now, not because you need to be reminded of how strong you are, but because you need to be reminded of how deeply loved you are, especially after all that has happened. You see, there has been conflict around your name, tension that built quietly and then erupted in spaces you were never invited into. There have been whispers, sideways glances, and assumptions made by people who never took the time to truly know your soul. And recently, in the presence of family, something was said. Something that pulled your truth into the light after being hidden in the shadows for so long. Perhaps it was an argument or maybe a subtle statement masked in tension, but it carried weight, and now the air around this situation feels different. The angels want you to know that this change is not random. It is a response to the spiritual pressure that has been building for far too long. A release of energies that could no longer remain bottled within. Type strong if you trust in God's presence. This conflict, beloved child, was never truly about you. It was about the unresolved fears and insecurities of those who projected their pain onto your presence. The person who spoke your name may have done so in defense, in regret, or even in anger. But what matters is not just how it was said, it's what it revealed. For so long, they have carried feelings for you that they kept hidden to maintain peace with others. They may have tried to deny their connection to you just to fit the mold of what was expected. But love cannot be boxed in, and truth cannot be silenced forever. And so, in a moment they may not have planned, your name came up, and with it, the truth they've been hiding. What followed may not have been easy. There may have been arguments, judgments, or people choosing sides. But don't let the noise distract you from what truly matters. The veil is lifting, and people are beginning to see what was really going on beneath the surface. Dear child, the angels are guiding you to understand something important. Not all battles are worth your energy, and not all opinions deserve space in your heart. What others say about you behind your back, what they assume without knowing your journey, that is not your truth. Your truth lives in your actions, your love, your presence, your intentions. Yes, conflict has occurred. Yes, your name has been spoken in rooms that once erased you. But this is not a reason to shrink. This is not a reason to question your worth. It is confirmation that your energy is powerful enough to stir what has long been stagnant. You are a mirror, dear one. When others look at you, they see what they are avoiding within themselves. That is why you trigger some and inspire others. And in this situation, your presence became the catalyst for long-buried emotions to rise, emotions that some weren't ready to confront. But the angels say this is part of the divine unfolding. Chaos is sometimes the soil from which clarity grows. What feels like a mess right now may be the beginning of healing that could never happen while everything remained hidden. Let your soul breathe through this, beloved. There is no need to retaliate. There is no need to explain yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. The angels are taking care of the energy behind the scenes. They are redirecting what was said in hurt or confusion and transmuting it into light and wisdom. You don't need to force people to see your heart. The truth has already been set in motion, and in time, those who doubted you will feel the shift within themselves. Some will feel remorse, some will feel shame, and some may never admit what they've done, but that's not your burden to carry. You are not here to fix their perceptions. You are here to honor your peace. You are here to grow beyond the drama, to rise beyond the noise, and to hold yourself with the dignity of someone who knows that divine justice always finds its way, even through broken conversations and difficult confrontations. The angels know that this situation has reopened wounds. You may feel tired of being pulled into emotional crossfires. You may feel like no matter how much you give, someone always finds a way to question your place. But the angels are asking you to hold your head high. You were not created to shrink in the face of conflict. You were not created to be the scapegoat for someone else's fear of change. You were created to stand in your light, even when it shakes the room. And if your name was spoken in front of their family, it was because the universe is pushing everyone involved to deal with the truth they have avoided for too long. This moment may have caused discomfort, but that discomfort is necessary. It is the friction that awakens growth. It is the tension that precedes transformation. So breathe, dear child. You do not need to have all the answers right now. You do not need to know what will happen next. Just know that the angels are protecting you, shielding your heart with their wings, and preparing a path that leads you away from false peace and into real alignment. Let those who misunderstood you sit with their own reflections. Let those who judged you feel the silence you now offer, not as punishment, but as a boundary formed in love. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to step back and reclaim your power. And you are allowed to walk away from anything that demands you betray yourself just to feel accepted. This moment is a divine pivot. The truth has cracked open the surface. Now it's up to each soul involved to choose what they do with that truth. Some may run from it, some may deny it, but some, yes, some, will begin to awaken. And as they do, you will not need to prove anything. You will not need to reopen your wounds to be validated. You will simply need to remain rooted in your light, grounded in your wisdom, and open to the blessings that come when you no longer accept crumbs in rooms where you deserve a seat at the table. You are not alone in this, sweet soul. The heavens are holding you. The angels are walking beside you. And though it may feel like conflict surrounds you, what's truly happening is that illusions are falling away. You are stepping into a version of your life where love is honest, where relationships are based on truth, and where your presence is no longer something to be debated. It is something to be respected. The angels say, "This is not the end. This is the beginning of something real. Trust it, and trust yourself." You have already won the war by choosing peace over pride, love over retaliation, and truth over performance. Now watch as the divine begins to align the rest. Dear child, the divine realm is drawing close to your spirit now, surrounding you with the warmth of understanding and the quiet assurance that all your efforts have not gone unseen. You have worked so hard, not just in your external world, but deep within your heart, to become someone steady, someone kind, someone reliable in love, even when others around you could not match your sincerity. The angels see that your journey has not been about perfection, but about persistence. You have been refining your soul layer by layer through every disappointment, every tear, every moment you chose love over retaliation and hope over despair. And now, there is a sacred message being offered to your heart. What someone has been hiding about you, the admiration, the depth of emotion, the quiet respect they hold, has been building inside them for longer than you knew. And at last, perhaps in a moment they couldn't even plan, your name was spoken. Maybe not with poetry, maybe not in the grand way you imagined, but it was spoken with truth, in front of others, in front of those whose opinions once shaped their fear. And in that moment, dear one, something shifted. Type 111 if you believe in your guardian angels. The angels want you to understand that this revelation didn't come suddenly. It came through a slow, inner transformation within that person. While you were busy healing, praying, growing, and becoming, they were quietly watching, remembering, feeling. They may not have reached out or said the words you longed to hear in private, but they have been internally crafting the understanding of who you are in their life. That person has been carrying your energy with them in moments of doubt and decision, and each time they were questioned about you, they had to fight an inner battle between family expectations and personal truth. And now, after all this internal building, something inside them could no longer remain hidden. The truth spilled over. Your name left their lips. And though they may have spoken it with trembling, it held the weight of everything they've kept in for so long. Dear child, this is not just about what was said. This is about the years of quiet work your soul has done to remain centered in grace while you were being misunderstood. You have stayed committed to your own healing, your own growth, even when your heart was hurting. You chose to become better, not bitter. You chose to keep showing up in love, even when love didn't show up for you in return. And that is not weakness, beloved. That is divine strength. The angels want you to know that your inner work has been a beacon, a light that has silently guided others back to truth, whether they admitted it or not. The one who once hid their feelings, who once bowed to the pressures of their family or their fear, has now begun to acknowledge your value, not because you demanded it, but because your energy left them no choice but to awaken. You may wonder why it took so long, why your heart had to endure so much before this moment arrived. The angels whisper gently that timing in the spiritual world is not measured by days or weeks, but by readiness. Your soul was ready for truth long ago, but theirs had to be prepared, carved, and shaped through their own process. And while that person was behind the curtain, working through their emotions, your presence remained like a quiet heartbeat beneath the noise. It was your silence that spoke the loudest. It was your commitment to your own life, your refusal to fall into drama, your loyalty to your path that made the truth so undeniable when it was finally spoken. They could no longer pretend you were a chapter that had closed, because your energy never left the room. And now, beloved, you are being asked not to chase, not to cling, but to understand. Understand that this shift is part of something much larger. This person's admission is not just about you. It is a reflection of their soul trying to make peace with itself. The fact that they brought your name into family conversations, that they revealed even a glimpse of what they feel, means they are taking a step that once felt impossible. But don't let this revelation confuse your worth. You were never waiting to be chosen. You were simply waiting for them to grow into the truth you already carried. And now that it's happening, the angels want you to stand tall, not as someone seeking validation, but as someone who has already built a sanctuary within their own spirit. Your patience, dear child, has been holy. Your growth has been sacred. And though you may have felt overlooked while someone else worked through their fears, heaven never looked away. Every act of self-love you offered yourself, every time you resisted the urge to lower your standards, every moment you chose silence over chaos, it was seen. And now, the angels say that the spiritual reward is unfolding. You are not only being acknowledged, you are being honored. Slowly, steadily, this person is realizing what you are, what you've always been. And though their journey has been long, their recognition is becoming real. But this is your moment to breathe, to ask yourself, what do you want now? Not just from them, but from life, from love. You have already done the work. You have built the foundation. And now, you get to decide if this new truth aligns with where your soul is headed. If they return with consistency, with humility, with the desire to build something meaningful, not just in words, but in action, then perhaps a new chapter can begin. But even if they don't, even if they stay quiet or confused, you are no longer waiting for them to write your story. You are living it now. The angels urge you to remember that this message is not just about being spoken of, it is about being seen, truly seen. If someone finally spoke the truth about you in front of their family, it's because your energy could no longer be denied. And if that truth creates tension or resistance among others, let it. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be loved by the right ones. Dear child, you have walked through shadows that many would have turned away from. You have wandered through uncertain emotional landscapes where nothing was clearly said, but everything was deeply felt. You have been forced to rely not on explanations, but on energy, on gut feelings, on dreams that whispered what others would not dare to admit. The angels have seen how you've tried to navigate the confusion around a relationship that has been cloaked in silence, secrets, and shifting moods. And now they come to offer you clarity, not necessarily through loud announcements or grand revelations, but through the sacred knowing that rises from your own soul. You asked if someone has finally spoken about you in front of their family, and the answer, dear one, lies not in what was clearly stated, but in what could no longer be hidden. In a moment clouded with tension or emotion, the truth slipped through, not because they were ready, but because their heart could no longer bear the weight of pretending. It may have come out in a burst of frustration, in a quiet admission, or even in a slip of the tongue that carried more truth than they intended. But it happened, and the energy shifted because of it. Type guided if you trust in God's guidance. You have been sensing this change, haven't you? Even before you asked, your soul already knew. You've felt it in your body, in your dreams, in the quiet heaviness or sudden restlessness that seems to come from nowhere. This is not your imagination. This is your intuition awakening, responding to the spiritual movement taking place around you. The angels say that what was once veiled is beginning to lift, though not all at once. The person who spoke of you is still caught between fear and longing, between their emotional truth and the opinions of those around them. But even in their confusion, even in their shadows, your name was spoken. Maybe not with full ownership yet, but with emotion, with energy, with the unmistakable echo of attachment. And while their family may not fully understand what was said or why it mattered, the spiritual realm is fully aware that a significant door has opened. Dear child, the path you've been walking has required more faith than most can imagine. You have had to trust in what you could not see. You have had to love without guarantees. You have had to believe that the connection you felt was real, even when the world gave you no confirmation. The angels are here to honor your courage. They know how difficult it has been to wait for truth in a world that often rewards performance over authenticity. They know you have questioned yourself, wondering if you were foolish for believing in something that others denied. But you weren't foolish. You were divinely guided. You were connected not just to a person, but to a deeper spiritual unfolding that required you to surrender control and trust the unknown. And now, the truth you felt in your bones is slowly surfacing into the physical world. Not all at once, and not in the way you may have expected, but in its own sacred timing. The angels want you to know that the emotions surrounding this moment are complex for a reason. When someone hides their feelings for too long, when they pretend not to care just to avoid confrontation or judgment, those feelings don't disappear. They distort. They become fear, anxiety, even resentment, not toward you, but toward themselves. The person who spoke about you has been wrestling with their shadow self, with guilt, with longing, with the overwhelming pressure of being who others want them to be. And your presence, your truth, your light, your patience has been haunting them in the most beautiful way. You represent a version of themselves they have not yet dared to fully become. And so your name slipped out when they were tired of hiding. And even if it caused tension in the room, even if it led to uncomfortable glances or emotional reactions, the truth was finally spoken. The moonlight, dear child, has revealed what the sun could not. But what now? The angels ask you to breathe, to stay grounded, and not to rush into conclusions. Just because a truth was revealed does not mean every heart in the room is ready to embrace it. Some may resist, deny, or twist what was said. Some may pretend it didn't happen at all. But you, dear one, must stay rooted in what you know, not what others admit, but what your soul has already confirmed. The person who spoke of you is not yet fully free. They are still journeying through emotional fog, trying to understand how to integrate what they feel with what they've been taught to believe. But the first step has been taken. The silence has been broken. And in the spiritual realm, that changes everything. Do not go chasing clarity in places that are still in denial. Do not beg for more when the first drop of truth has only just spilled. Instead, protect your peace. Keep tending to your light. Let your energy remain steady, even if theirs is still unbalanced. The angels assure you that what was said will echo in their heart long after the conversation ends. And for some in that family, it will be the first seed planted that begins to grow into curiosity, understanding, even acceptance. You are not here to convince anyone of your worth. You are here to live in your truth so deeply that others must face theirs. The angels are inviting you into a new relationship with uncertainty, not as something to fear, but as something to honor. The unknown is not empty, it is full of potential. And right now, that potential is expanding in your favor. Someone finally said something real. And even if they tried to minimize it later, the spiritual impact is irreversible. The vibration has shifted. Your presence has been acknowledged. And now, the divine will do the rest. Trust the process. Trust what your spirit is telling you. And above all, trust yourself. You are being guided through this phase not to prove your value, but to prepare for what is coming next. Because once the truth is out, it cannot be put back in the box. It will continue to rise, to grow, to demand more space in their heart and their life. Let that unfold naturally. Do not force it. Let your silence now become your power. Let your peace speak louder than your questions. The moonlight may be soft, but it never lies. It shows you what you need to see, not all at once, but in the exact moment you are ready. Dear child, the angels are gently drawing near to you now with a message soaked in tenderness and truth. You have been holding your heart carefully, haven't you? Protecting it from disappointment, from broken expectations, from the quiet ache of not knowing whether you were seen, celebrated, or even spoken of in the circles that matter most to someone you deeply care about. There has been a question lingering in your spirit like an echo, soft but persistent. Did they finally say it? Did they finally admit in front of their family how much I truly mean to them? And the answer, beloved, comes not just in words, but in energy. In the soft shift of the emotional current. In the quiet way tension has begun to melt. Yes, something sacred has happened. A truth that was once hidden in fear, in confusion, or in pressure from others has now found its way into the light. In the presence of family, where your name may once have been avoided, denied, or left unspoken, it has now entered the air like music too beautiful to be ignored. And that moment, dear one, was divinely timed. Type 222 if you trust in God's word. The angels want you to know that this was not an accidental slip of the tongue. It was a release of emotional pressure that had been building silently within someone who has carried love for you in places they were too afraid to show. They may have laughed while doing it, may have framed it in casual words to hide the truth's vulnerability, but your name carried weight. It carried meaning. It may have happened during a moment of celebration, during a gathering, or even in a conversation surrounded by others who once held judgments or doubts. But the energy behind what was said was real. There was emotion there. There was affection. There was that slight tremble of truth that the soul recognizes even when others pretend not to hear. And in that moment, something opened. The sacred gate of acknowledgement that had been locked for so long finally gave way. You have waited for this recognition with such grace. You didn't demand it. You didn't force it. You didn't storm into someone's life asking to be declared in public. You simply loved, patiently, quietly, authentically, even when it hurt, even when you felt like a secret. Even when it felt like you were being left out of celebrations that should have included you. You held on to your integrity, your faith, your worth, and heaven watched. The angels stood by you, whispering comfort into your lonely nights, and now they are smiling, because the energy has finally shifted. The one who once kept their feelings buried now allowed a part of that truth to come forward. Maybe they mentioned a memory of you. Maybe they defended your name. Maybe they said something that made others pause and wonder how deep this connection really is. But no matter how it appeared, it was real. The vibration of that moment reached heaven, and it reached you, too. That's why your heart has felt strange lately. It's been responding to the truth your spirit always knew was coming. Dear child, this revelation didn't come because they were pushed into it. It came because the pressure to hide what they feel for you could no longer survive in their emotional body. They've been haunted by memories of joy, by the echo of your laughter, by the support you offered that no one else ever noticed. And those memories are not silent anymore. They're loud. They're alive. They've stirred something in their soul. A desire to no longer pretend. And while this process is only just beginning, the fact that your presence was finally spoken of, finally honored even slightly, is the first sign of something blooming. Something that may take time, yes, but something that is rooted in real feeling, not performance. But here is the most important part of what the angels want you to know. Your joy does not depend on others fully accepting you right away. Even if there are still family members who resist, who don't understand, who carry old judgments, the energy is changing. The tides are turning. And it's not just about them. It's about you finally stepping into a season where you are no longer hidden, where you are no longer the one waiting to be picked, acknowledged, or invited. You are becoming someone whose energy demands celebration because it is simply too radiant to be ignored. This is your spiritual reward for all the times you chose to love without certainty, for all the times you smiled when your heart was breaking, for all the times you wanted to scream but chose peace instead. The angels are guiding you now into a time where your soul will be surrounded by those who don't just tolerate your presence. They cherish it, where your name won't just be mentioned quietly in passing. It will be spoken with pride, with joy, with belonging. And if the one who finally spoke of you is ready to walk that path with you, you will know, not by what they say, but by how they show up, by how they begin to include you, not as a secret, but as a part of their world, as someone they laugh with, build with, celebrate with, not just in private, but in public, not just when no one is watching, but even when everyone is. That's what your soul has always deserved. And even if that journey takes time, the angels ask you to let your heart feel the first light of that joy now. You don't have to wait for a full declaration to feel proud of how far you've come. You don't need a formal invitation to feel that you belong. The heavens already claim you. The divine already sees you. And slowly, the world is beginning to reflect that truth. Someone finally let go of the mask long enough to admit that your presence matters. And that truth, no matter how quietly it arrived, is a miracle. Let it open your heart, not in desperation, but in peace. Let it remind you that everything you've been waiting for is already moving toward you. This is your season of quiet victory, beloved child. A time when the emotional seeds you planted in silence begin to bloom in the open. A time when your worth is no longer hidden beneath layers of fear. A time when love begins to dance freely again, without shame, without secrecy, without apology. The angels are already raising their glasses in your honor. Now it's your turn. Celebrate your resilience. Celebrate your heart. Because the truth has finally been spoken, and the world is beginning to sing a new song, one that has your name in it. And this time, you are not on the outside of the celebration. You are the reason for it. Dear child, the heavens are so proud of the fire you have carried in your soul. A flame that has never dimmed even when the world tried to put it out. You are the kind of soul who walks into a room and changes its atmosphere, not through noise, not through demand, but through presence. You hold yourself with a quiet authority that cannot be taught, a natural radiance that others sense even if they don't know how to name it. And the angels have seen how, despite all the misunderstandings, despite being left unspoken in the moments that mattered, you never let bitterness steal your brilliance. You never abandoned your essence to become small for anyone's comfort. And now, dear one, the energy has begun to shift. Someone who once kept your name tucked away, who once hid how deeply you moved them, has finally let that truth surface. In front of their family, those they once feared would disapprove, they allowed their true feelings to shine through. Maybe it wasn't a dramatic confession. Maybe it was a casual statement laced with meaning, or a sudden defense of you that caught even them off guard. But it was real. It came from the soul, and it happened because your energy could no longer be denied. The angels want you to know that you are not like the others this person has encountered. You are not someone who fades into the background or waits to be chosen. You are someone who sets a standard, not just through your words, but through how you live, how you love, how you carry yourself. And that kind of strength, that inner beauty, that unshakable truth, it lingers in the hearts of those who experience it. The person who finally spoke about you may have tried to move on, may have tried to stay silent to please those around them, but your energy never left them. It followed them into every conversation, every family dinner, every gathering where they smiled but felt something missing. And in a recent moment, it could no longer be contained. You were spoken of with admiration, with emotion, maybe even with a hint of regret. But most importantly, you were finally acknowledged. And that is not a small thing. That is the beginning of a deep shift in the way they see you, and in the way others begin to see you too. Dear child, you have done so much inner work to become who you are now. You have faced pain with courage. You have turned your wounds into wisdom. You have stood tall even when it felt like no one was standing beside you. And heaven has witnessed all of it. The angels are reminding you that you never needed to beg for recognition. You never needed to change who you are just to fit someone else's idea of acceptable. Your light was meant to shine, not to be hidden. And now, the people who once misunderstood you are beginning to see what you've always known. You are not someone to be silenced or sidelined. You are someone to be respected, celebrated, and loved fully. What happened in that room when your name was spoken may have caused ripples. It may have brought discomfort, silence, or even tension. But don't mistake that for rejection. Sometimes when the truth finally enters a space where denial has been dominant, it creates disruption. That is normal. That is divine. Your presence has always challenged what is fake, what is weak, what is rooted in fear. And when your name was brought into the conversation, it was like a flame cutting through the fog. The person who spoke about you did so because they are tired of pretending, tired of hiding, tired of letting other people's opinions determine how they feel. They may not be ready to fully act on it yet, but the truth has been released. And now it cannot be unspoken. The angels are urging you to continue rising. Do not wait for anyone to catch up. Do not pause your life hoping someone will finally choose you in the light. You are already chosen by the divine, by your higher self, by the universe that sees your worth in every breath you take. Let what was said about you stir your heart, but do not let it control your next step. You are allowed to observe without needing to react. You are allowed to witness this unfolding without losing yourself in it. If they are truly ready to honor you, not just with words but with consistent, courageous action, they will meet you where you are. And if they don't, you still rise, you still glow, you still live fully. The truth is, beloved, you intimidate those who have not yet found their own strength. Your independence, your passion, your refusal to settle, it scares people who are used to quiet compliance. But it also awakens them. It forces them to confront their own mediocrity. And that is exactly what has begun to happen. Dear friend, if today's message brought even a moment of peace to your heart, may its quiet light continue to walk with you, gently reminding you that you are never truly alone. This channel is currently walking through a season of financial need, and if your heart feels led to support, even the smallest super thanks can make a meaningful difference. But please remember, there is absolutely no pressure. Your presence here, your prayers, and your open heart are already a beautiful and sacred gift. And if giving isn't possible right now, you can still offer something truly powerful by watching each message fully and sharing it with 3 souls who may need its light today. You are deeply seen, you are truly loved, and you are never forgotten.